Alright, welcome back to another video tutorial on Adobe Illustrator. In this video, we will discuss about tracing. So within this tracing, this is actually a part 2 video. So if you haven't watched the part 1, you need to go and watch the part 1 first. Is basically talking about how we achieve this drawing over here. So we technically trace from the original hand-drawn and then produce a line drawing over here. So you can see the quality is very different. So hand drawing has certain qualities and vector drawing has another certain qualities. Is actually quite different. So, the ambience is different, the feeling is different. So each one of them have their own advantage, have their own feeling, and basically have their own purpose. Alright, so for this part 2 video, we're gonna deal with a little bit of coloring using pen bucket tools, live pen bucket tools. The thumbnails, or I guess the button for that one is over here, right? If you move your cursor over here, it shows live pen bucket, and the hotkey for that is K. In other words, you could just press K on your keyboards and then it's automatically turned to that function. Alright, in Adobe Illustrator we don't really do the coloring. It's actually more towards assigning color to a particular space. So it's not really coloring. So you'll get what it means when we actually do the things in a few minutes. Alright, before that, it is always a good practice that you create a backup for your works. Okay, so the way that I always do that is just copy and paste whatever lines or whatever subject that I want to back up, but then I would do that at the same place. In other words, I would copy and paste and make sure that my paste, the duplication of that particular subject is on the same position of the original one. Okay, and this is how I always do. I always separate my line with my color layers. Okay, so let's start and do just that. So what we need to do is that we need to select the whole thing and then just hit Control C. That means you copy the things, but then you don't just press Control V, you press Control Shift and B, and what that do is that it copy the whole thing, but it will paste on the same location, so you don't see the duplication over here because it's right on the same location. So if I move this one, you can see it's actually being copied. Okay, so let's just undo that movement. So what we want to do is we're gonna create a new layer and we're gonna rename that as color. So this is where the color is gonna be. Alright, so it's always a good practice that the color should be underneath the line so that the color does not block any lines that you have, because not all lines you would like to color. There's some lines that's not being colored. Okay, so what you do is that you drag this little square onto your new layers, right? So what it did just now is that it changed the copied version of the line into the new layers. So right now we have two lines, right? So two set of line, one is on the layer lines, another one is on the layer color, and both of them are on the same location, like exactly the same location. So that's what we want to do. Okay, there's a reason for that, and it's pretty clear after we go through the coloring afterwards. We can disable the line, right, the line layer, so that because we just want to work on the color right now. So just select everything and press K, or just click on this live pen bucket function and you just click on your selection, and that will turn your selection into something like this. It means that the whole things right now is ready to be assigned color to. Okay, so if you look at here, you don't have any color selected because it's crossed. So if you just click anywhere, it will not appear any colors because you're not selecting any colors. So let's just select some colors. We'll start with the hair. Obviously it's black, so you just click on them and it will fill the place or the space with color. Okay, and I guess this goes without saying, the rule is that it must be a loop, it must be a closed space, right? Because if it's not closed, the function will not detect, and it will not, you will not be able to assign color to that space. So it must be a closed space. Okay, so let's do the clothing. Keep the kimono that she's wearing. I guess we're gonna go for blue colors. Oh, right, and darker blue for these parts, and perhaps yellow for the small ribbon, ribbon, and the ear. Okay, cool. The sandal, perhaps some brown color. Alright, cool. So I want this to be white for the sock, I guess. But if you want something to be white, you can't just leave it without coloring it, without assigning color, because it does look like white color, but it is nothing there actually. So you still need to assign white color to it. If you don't do that, this part over here, it will appear as a transparent. So it's not white, it is just no color there, right? Let's do the skin. Oh, just pick a better color, I guess. Right, that one's nice. Okay, cool. And then the blushing thingy, I guess. I don't know what you guys call it, but it's just make things cute. And the inside of the mouth is a little bit reddish. Alright, cool, we got it. So that's it. Oh, it's just this funny looking things over here. Let's just put them as white. Oh, sorry, yellow. Right, cool. Now to finish them. Alright, once you're done assigning color to all of them, I guess, if you click on it, they will appear as a group. Right, so you can't choose any lines, or we can't work with any lines anymore, because it changed the whole thing as a group for the function of live pen bucket. Alright, so whatever you do, this appears as a group. So what you would like to do to solve this issue, or basically to finalize the coloring, is to go to objects and expand the whole thing. Right, and then just click OK. Alright, after you click expand, and it will turn the whole thing into an editable kind of shape or form. Alright, if you double click on your image, it will go into isolation mode. Now isolation mode means that it goes into a mode where you can only edit whatever in the group. Okay, now that's bring to another explanation actually. Alright, so this is our drawing in the first thing, in the first part. It doesn't exist as groups, so each line sort of separated by itself. Okay, there's a function where you can create a group. The way to do that is to basically select everything that you want it to be a group, and then go to object and group, and the whole thing will exist as a group. Means like whatever you do, they will move together, right? In order for you to edit them again, you can actually double click on them, and then it goes into an isolation mode, and within that isolation mode you can only edit whatever in the group. So this one is outside the group, is not going to be affected, so you are focusing on on that particular group. This is a similar function with component function in SketchUp, or even in AutoCAD. They also have this kind of function as well. It's basically creating a group. Okay, so having explained that, so when you do a live pen bucket, once you finish it, it will automatically turn everything into a group. So if you double click it, if you look at the layer, there's two group. Okay, the first group is the line, the original line, and the second group is basically the color, right? So this is how live pen bucket sort of works. So you assign color to a specific space. After you're done and you finalize it by expanding it, it would turn the whole thing into a new set of form or a new set of shape that follow the colors that you assign. So this is actually a separate kind of shapes, right? So that's how the system sort of work. That is why in the beginning of the video I mentioned to you guys that we don't really coloring, is that we actually assigning color to specific space. So that's basically how vector art works. Okay, so there's one layer sort of disabled. So that's basically how everything's kind of sort of works. So we've done all the coloring. Okay, there is another step that I would like to go through, which is creating this outline, right? So if you look at any typical drawing, this outline is very useful in creating some sort of depth in your works, and it's also emphasis your works as well, right? This is what we call outline. So this is our original lines, but it's not really like connected as an outline, right? It is a separate line. So how are we going to produce one single line so that we can create the outline for this drawing? Now that can be done using the color shapes that we already did. So first thing we do is that we create another layer, and because it's an outline, so obviously we're gonna place them at the very back of the layer. So this one is outline. So this so that's the layer for the outline. So what we do is that we select the color. So right now the line still enabled, so we disable that one first, select the color, and then we copy and paste at the same location by holding it down, Control and Shift, and then just drag the copied version onto the outline layers. Okay, so right now we can disable the color layer because we're gonna just want to work on the outline layer first. Alright, so first thing, we will disable the stroke on this one, and that will turn everything into a plane or a fill, right? So how do we get one single line as an outline for this drawing? Is by using what we call a Pathfinder. Now Pathfinder has a lot of function, but to achieve what we need this time is basically to use the unite function. So what unite function does is that it's turn this different component into one single big shape. Alright, so let's just do that, and that will make things a lot clearer. See that? So this is how we produce the outline, right? But it must be produced using fills. We can't really produce it using line because it does not exist as fill. It basically exists as line, and we need to assign the color. We need to assign color to it first, and then change it into a different fill, right? And once we do that, we can copy and paste the fill to produce an outline. Okay, once we have the outline, we just add the stroke on it, right? And now it has an outline for the stroke. Make sure that you change the type of line into rounded cap and rounded join, which is the same as the line that we did before this. And with this, you can basically change the size of the stroke, right? You can make it thicker so that you can achieve like this thick outline, and just enable the color to see the magic happen, right? So that's that. There's a wisdom why do I separate the lines and the colors. It's actually make things a lot easy to be added. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna change the color into no stroke at all, right? And then so that's how it's gonna looks like. And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go and ungroup it. So when we ungroup it, it become it exists as a separate shape, right? So right now, yes, so right now I can basically directly click on it. Okay, so by doing this, so right now we understand that we have a different we have lines and color on different layer, so it's easy for us to edit the whole thing. For example, I want to change the color of this cloth. So in order for me to not mess up with the outline and the line, I just lock the line layers and just deal with the colors, right? So just click on it, and then while holding shift it will add to your selection, and you can change the colors over here. So for example, I want it to be green or whatnot, and there you have it. Okay, uh, but sometimes you want to change the color of the lines as well, and this is why you build or you draw the line and the color on separate layers, because sometimes you just want to change the color, sorry, you just want to change the color of the line without anything, without changing the line, without changing the color. So you just lock the color section or the color layers and just select every line that you have, and over here you just selecting line, right? If you can see under your layers there is no selection on the color, but you select the line and you also select the outline, and because all of them is black colors, you can see it's actually black over here, and you can change the color of the line to be whatever you want, whether it's red or whether it's blue. So that's why we always separate the layer for the lines and the color. It's actually make editing a lot easier. Alright, so have a try on this one. There's a lot of exploration within this function as well. I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video then.